All right, good morning, Marines. I'm Gunnery Sergeant Duarte, and this is your orientation class for your upcoming troubleshooting class on the Airtronic burner. At the heart of every equipment asset we use in the Marine Corps is this piece of equipment right here. It's the Airtronic burner. It's inside our expeditionary field kitchen, and it's inside our tray ration heating systems, and it's inside the M59 range. So it's very important that you understand how to use this and how to identify components. So going to the back. Here in the back, starting with the first and most important thing is the Babington Intelligent Integrated Control Box. So this is the new generation, and it functions as a control box and as a test box. Via this button here, you hold it for 5 seconds, it goes back and forth between the two modes. You want to ensure that there's power to this, which we'll show in the demonstration later. Moving on here to the bottom, you have the fuel pump. The fuel pump is turned on by this black solenoid, which also turns on the air compressor up here. So these two are very important. They need to be plugged in with these cables. The fuel pump has a fuel line that goes right on this brass nipple and gets secured with this coupler, this clamp. From there, the fuel travels through the fuel line to the fuel tower. And at the fuel tower at the top, there is a screw called the fuel control screw. You want to make sure that that's on the medium setting, per the technical manual. Over here going across the burner, you have the air line. The air line goes from the double shafted blower motor that operates on 110 to 120 volts alternating current, which is the standard wall current in the US. And when this solenoid turns on this valve, the compressor here allows air to travel from the piston compressor area to the housing, the burner housing group, and that blows air through the burner and allows the atomization to occur. Right here you have the fuel sump. The fuel sump collects all the extra fuel that's not used by the fuel tower through a return line that's internal to the housing. The housing right here, right? So the housing right here. And that goes back in here and it gets recirculated through the crossover tubes. You want to ensure that there's no leaks here and that everything's functioning properly. Over to the front of the burner, you have the front flange. It's held on by these 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The front flange also is important that you note that there's a gasket in place to ensure that this is sealing properly to whatever equipment asset this Airtronic burner is in. Over here in the front, you want to make sure that the flame tube is secured. You want to make sure that the air tube is secured to the front flange by the 2 screws that are below this gasket here. So there's one here and one here. And you want to make sure that the flame tube inside here is oriented at the 9 and 3 position. So this slot right here, in addition, there's a slot up there. And these are supposed to be at the 9 and 3 position in order to ensure that that flame fans out properly. So you'll note that this one's improperly installed. And over on the inside of this, you'll notice that there are 2 orifices, 1 and 2. Those are the atomization bearings that allow the fuel mixture to come out. And there in the center, you'll see an a spark igniter. So the spark igniter creates a spark, and the fuel goes through those 2 orifices right there. When we go over to the top, you'll see that there's a air control knob. That should always be on the 10 setting. So again, I'll show that to you right here. That should always be on the 10 setting, between 8 and 10, per the technical manual, between 8 and 10. But I believe that about covers it, with the exception the most important thing to check during troubleshooting is this piece of equipment here. This is called the photocell. The photocell does a number of things, but it ensures the safe operation of this Airtronic burner by checking for no light. That means that the Airtronic burner should be inside the equipment set when you are testing it, right? So this actual photocell right here checks for no light initially. Once the burner ignites, it's checking for a proof of fire, and it will actually turn the burner on and off depending on those 2 conditions. But that concludes the orientation. Hopefully you've enjoyed this period of instruction, and please let me know if you have any questions, or your instructor know if you have any questions.
You want to stop it?